Let me be brutally honest with you. Some parts of you have to die. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because the version of you that you're clinging to is killing the version God is trying to raise up. And you know it. You can feel it. That old version has been rotting inside of you for a while now. The habits, the fear, the comfort zones, the excuses. It's dead weight, and if you don't bury it, it will bury you. We don't like to hear this. We want God to bless who we already are. But sometimes He looks at you and says, no, that version of you is not going with us. That lazy you, that fearful you, that addicted you, that people-pleasing you, it has to die. And here's the bitter truth. You can't pray your way around it. You can't fast your way out of it. You have to let God cut it out of you, and it's going to hurt. It's not always the people you have to leave behind. It's not the enemies. It's not even the betrayals. The hardest person to leave behind is you. The you who stayed small to make others comfortable. The you who kept crawling back to what was toxic because at least it was familiar. The you who chose comfort over calling. That corpse has to stay in the grave. But here's the problem. We're addicted to the familiar. We go back to cages even when the door is wide open. We cling to chains even when God has already broken them. Because at least we know their weight. At least we know how it feels to be stuck. But God didn't call you to live stuck. He didn't call you to be safe. He called you to be holy. He called you to be different. He called you to be new. And new always demands a funeral. Something has to die. Some part of you has to be buried so that something greater can rise. That's why Jesus said, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Death is not the end. It's the doorway. And some of you listening right now, you've been stuck at the doorway for years because you refuse to let go of the corpse you've been dragging. But let's be real, dying hurts. It feels like losing yourself. It feels like losing the only identity you've ever known. You will cry for the old you. You will miss the chains. You will miss the cage. You will grieve, and that grief will feel like God abandoned you. But hear me, He didn't abandon you. He's remaking you. The potter never abandons the clay, even when he breaks it to shape it again. Pruning is not punishment. It's preparation. Cutting is not cruelty. It's care. God is removing what can't survive in your next level. Because if you carry it forward, it will kill the blessing He has waiting for you. And you know this already, because every time you've tried to mix the old you with the new season, it fell apart. Every time you tried to bring the same toxic mindset into a fresh start, it crumbled. That wasn't coincidence. That was God saying, it doesn't belong here. So stop dragging corpses into your destiny. Stop trying to breathe life into what God already buried. Stop asking Him to bless a version of you He already told you to leave behind. That old you is gone. And the sooner you let it die, the sooner resurrection begins. And this is where hope comes in. With God, death is never the final word. Jesus proved that. The cross looked like the end. The tomb looked like defeat. The nails looked permanent. But 3 days later, resurrection shouted louder than death. That same power, the resurrection power of Christ, is working in you right now. Every death in God leads to resurrection. Every ending in Him leads to a new beginning. Every grave in Him is only a passage to greater glory. So yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels unfair. But on the other side of this death is life. Real life. Abundant life. The life you've been praying for. So let it die. Let fear die. Let shame die. Let bitterness die. Let the old you stay buried. Cry over it if you must. Grieve it. But don't go back to it. Don't try to resurrect what God already nailed to the cross. Let it stay dead and rise. Rise into the person God always knew you were. Rise into purpose. Rise into calling. Rise into destiny. Because when God says, "Behold, I make all things new," He's talking about you. And one day you'll look back and realize you didn't lose anything. You gained everything. It wasn't a loss, it was an upgrade. God never cuts without purpose. He never buries without planning a resurrection. He never asks you to die without preparing you to live more fully than ever before. So stop looking back. Stop crying over the corpse. Walk forward, because the old you is gone. The new you is here, and God is waiting for you on the other side.